What do you rank? Already. What's the motherfucking deal, man? Welcome to Soft Sports. You're not familiar with Soft Sports. Soft Sports, the Houston Texans Homer Network, means we're talking all sports, but only Houston. You know what I'm saying? But we're talking Texans tonight, primarily Texans. You know, countdown to KC, Kansas City. As if you don't know, so there's a lot to talk about that. Really started to look with that with training camp going underway. Like I said, a lot of things to discuss. I guess I'll take the loop off of that. But we got a gentleman from the round getting down with us tonight, man. Who we got in the mix with us this evening?
Man, you got your boy Third Coast Sports TV, link in the building.
Already. Shout out to Wayne, man, joining us this evening. It's going down, as y'all know. There's a lot to talk about, I know, going on with training camp and stuff like that. And we're going to get into that. But like I said, I want to get into this because this is going to be kind of a series we're going to be doing for the preseason or up until the first game. You know, Texans versus Kansas City, they kick off the season. So the rest of the videos in this series will be like recorded, but so like I said, just to kind of introduce to y'all, we're going to chop it up with y'all. But before we get into that, let's see who we got in the mix, what fresh ingredients. Y'all know how we do it with the Sauce Nation roll call. Hey man, see if you are from the greater Houston area, shout out your side with pride. If you're not from the greater Houston area, you fuck out of luck. You know, go somewhere else. Go figure it out. Nah, I'm just fuck with you. Now it's all good. You know, it's nothing but love in the Sauce, man. We love you wherever you may be from, man. It's all digital love. Let us know where you're at, and we'll send some digital love in your direction. But like I said, you know, just some interesting things that have been going on, especially with this matchup. I think there's so many storylines that you have going on that you can compare. But like I said, let's see, we got to see Jabari, SC DeAndre holding down. What's the motherfucking deal? Jarrett, Josh, Russ, what's the motherfucking deal? J-Pack, what's the motherfucking deal? Chopper, D Pritch, aka Texans Palace. If you're not following Texans Palace on the gram, you must not have Instagram, or you like got a dumb phone or something. I mean, like, I don't know what you call yourself a Texans fan and you're not following Texans Palace on the gram, you're bullshitting yourself. Shout out to Texas Palace. See, Jason S. Ravens Flock. What's the motherfucking deal? Carlos Lastra. We're going to call you Carlos L. I don't want to fuck it up too bad. What's the motherfucking deal? Alana, one half of the greatest moderating couple in all the land. What's the motherfucking deal? Power, what's the motherfucking deal? Houston Texas Talk. Let me see. Jimmy R. Purple J. Cream Jaja. Footballer. Rob. Mike. Jamal. Let's see. What's the motherfucking deal? I see Maryland in the building now already. Let me see. You say Drippy Brando. You saying Texas gonna win 42-21. Remember this. I'm telling you. All right, I'm gonna remember it's in the first countdown to kickoff video that you made this claim. So make sure you stick around because I want you to own that up. Let's see. Shout out to Dirty Bay. I see you, South Park in the building already. Let's see, Maryland. Let me see. But shout out to everybody, wherever you may be. Everyone, what's the motherfucking deal? Let's kind of get into it because, like I said, it's a lot to talk about, right? It's a lot to get into. And like I said, we're going to get into more segmented conversation in the individual videos, in the sense of we're going to be making some comparisons. We're going to be talking about some similar things and some differences going on in the off seasons and things like that with these teams. Because like I say, you have two exciting young quarterbacks, right? You got one who's already came out and won his accolades, is setting all kind of records, and people feel like it's just far and away untouchable. And then you kind of have a guy, I wouldn't call him an underdog, but I would say he's underappreciated. You know what I mean? Michael Shelton, what's the motherfucking deal? And, you know, my thing is just like, I think a lot of people kind of brush Deshaun like aside. I think he gets discredited. I was talking with a gentleman the other day, actually. A guy, not from Texas, you know, and he's just kind of a casual observer. You know, we were just talking about top 5 guys. Were you in there, Wayne, when we were talking about this conversation? You was in there with us, right? Or was it Trill?
I believe so.
Okay. And it's just saying, you know, different views and different points on Deshaun Watson and in comparison to some of these other guys. And so, you know, even though they're both taking the same draft, couple of picks apart, and again, like I said, that they're, to me, I think as Texans fans, we view that their legacies are going to be tied together. I don't know if the national story looks at it that way. You know, I think in the national eyes, it's like Lamar Jackson has jumped into that conversation now, and he's that guy. Another young guy comes in, wins MVP, sets the league on fire in a way that they've never seen. So you have two guys who have very unique skill sets. But then you got a guy sitting down here in Houston, in my opinion, that has the best blend of both of those. You know what I'm saying? But again, underappreciated. We can talk about coaching staff, we can talk about organization, we can talk about all those things. But like I say, those are for later videos. I want to talk about right now, as we kind of get into this series, like what has happened since the last time these two teams met. And the reason why I want to get into this is because this is like kind of the angle we try to explain to y'all. When we say the things we say, most people say, "Oh, you guys are just being really fucking negative." It's not about negative. It's just like, for instance, Kansas City. They've gone on and they've won a Super Bowl, right? They advanced further than they did the year prior. We had our way with them in the regular season, right? And you say, well, why doesn't that translate to the postseason? Or what happened that made them look like that we were able to embarrass them, in the regular, that made them look like they got that much better? What happened in a season with a team and a coaching staff that made them look like they got that much better in almost half a season, or maybe a little more than half a season since the last time you saw them?
Yeah.
But with the Texans, you feel like kind of week in and week out, you're getting a lot of the same old. You got a little bit of a highlight here and there, but then you get a lot of letdowns. You'd have those Denver type games. So you didn't really get that feel that each week the Texans were getting better. Anyway, the Chiefs go on to the Super Bowl. They win it. They beat the Texans in the playoffs, right? And that's the game we're going back to. That's the last game the Texans played. And some of the Texas players have come out and said, yeah, they're mad about it. Some of the Texas players have come out and said, we got this marked on the calendar. We've seen Patrick Mahomes, looking forward to it. I don't think Patrick Mahomes is saying he's looking forward to it the same way Texans players are saying they're looking forward to it. Patrick Mahomes is looking ready to start the season, defend his title, go on another run. We as Texans fans are looking for revenge. Texans players should be looking for revenge. It should be personal. And for Bill O'Brien, Andy Reid should have leapt any respect or anything that you've had for Bill Belichick. Andy Reid should have leapt that. You know what I'm saying? Like how excited he was to finally win that game last year. Now, Andy Reid should be that nemesis. And I know you say, well, you beat him in the regular season. Yeah. We can talk about a few things. I'm not going to nitpick at that game. But there's things that you can say, well, because if I'm not mistaken, with Hill's first game back. And then you have Mahomes had a little bit of a kind of a little gimpy injury. You can say little things here and there. Was a couple players missing, but I'm not. A win is a win, right? I'm gonna stick by that. You went in their house. You did what you had to do. You were dominant. So I'm not taking it away because Hill was healthy enough to score and do what he had to do. So I'm not gonna say, oh well, it was this and that. Yeah. But again, when you see them again and they embarrass you in such a fashion. Like, you go into that game, and it looked like we were going to be the ones able to, like shit on them. Like, we're going to be the ones, like, okay. And we all got excited. Everybody, what was it? Everybody started checking into rehab. Everybody started hitting the pipe. You know what I'm saying? And then you get, like, the biggest letdown, the biggest embarrassment. Would you say this is was that in your opinion the most embarrassing game in Texas history?
No question about it. It was on a national screen. People talked about it for months. Some people are still talking about it. Mm-hmm. They talk about Deshaun Watson. They talk about how inept this front office is. They talk about how inept Bill O'Brien is. And now the national media is saying things about Bill O'Brien that we've been saying here on South Sports and Beyond for years now. So it's always, they try to sprinkle in, oh, he's a good coach, he doesn't hit double-digit wins until a specific quarterback is being taken, with his franchise. And it's all, I was thinking about it today. Like, we only have 4 seasons where we have double-digit wins, and 2 of those have already came from Deshaun Watson in a 3-year period. So as long as he's fully healthy, he's good for at least 10 to 11 games. It could be more if the defense was I see everyone is saying like we're slept on. Why does anyone in the media and why does anyone? And I'm not taking no time out to bash the Houston Texans because I've already spoke my piece on the Texans. What gives you any indication that this team is being slept on? And those are for people who are saying this in the chat because I'm seeing, people saying that, and it's just one of those things. Like I want to know the reasoning why. Is it just because we got a bunch of fast guys? Is it because David Johnson? I've seen somebody say David Johnson is going to be a Pro Bowler this year. I don't know how he's going to be able to do that over, the Saquon Barkley's, the Ezekiel Elliott's, the all of these guys. I don't think he's going to be better than Jonathan Taylor behind, running behind Quentin Nelson, the best offensive lineman in the game. I don't see that, but we'll see. The only way he'll be able to do that is if he ends up having like 1,000 yards and, he has like 10 to 15 touchdowns. Like he's going to have a season similar to his 16th season in order to even be talked about. Everything, he's an overshadow because we all know Deshaun Watson is in the driver's seat. But as far as Kansas City is concerned, they demolished this. They showed what this lack of secondary is going to do. And the secondary has not changed. The only thing is, from that game to now, Tayshaun Gibson didn't play, which he wasn't going to make no difference in that playoff game. He's no longer on the football team. And, you're bringing in other guys, and you drafted a couple guys who you're hoping to come in and bring and take the mantle. J.J. didn't play in the first game, and we still won. And then, it was just a plethora of things, and there was a lot of things that just went the wrong way. And the biggest thing was the Houston Texans got too big for the britches. Yeah. They thought the game was over. Yeah. They thought because they put up 24-0, they were like, hey, ain't no goddamn way they're going to be able to come back and beat us. Well, they got way more armor than you. They're more mentally tough than you ever could be. And they have a better coach than you. And the biggest thing that helped Kansas City in that football game was mistakes by the Houston Texans in field position. Every time Mahomes was short, it was on a short field. It's not like Mahomes was out here going like 90 yards down the field with quick scores. It's not like he was just throwing 50-yard bombs down the field and guys were just getting wide open. So I can see, how that game could have looked, a similar way when you really want to talk about it because that's the fact of the matter. He had short fields on at least 5 of the scores that he ended up having, like where he was already in the red zone or at least on the other side of the field. That's ridiculous. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So special teams and defense definitely didn't help out. The rhythm, the offensive rhythm, was out of whack, once they started to come back because they were shell-shocked that these guys were able to put up, points so fast. They had no answers for Travis Kelce, and they still don't. There is nobody on this football team, not even Justin Reed, even though I believe he will give the most valiant effort, and I'm not putting down any players, but no one on this team is equipped to handle Travis Kelce one-on-one. They have a lot of speed, and they use their speed to the fullest extent. They got Mecole Hardman. They still got Watkins. They got Tyreek Hill, the fastest player, in the league right now. And I know we have a lot of speed, too, so we'll be able to match them. And I'm not saying they'll just be able to totally outwit us because we do have some players who have some physicality. We do have some players, who can get the job done. And we have a lot of guys who have a skill set and they can catch the ball very well. And we have a phenomenal quarterback who's already beat this team in their home. So I don't want to judge Deshaun Watson off of just him winning regular season games against Patrick Mahomes. I want to see him be able to do this in the playoffs. And what bigger test than the Houston Texans going out playing the best football that they know they can play, because when the Houston Texans are on, there's nobody in the league who can beat us. But is that the team they're going to choose to be, or are they going to remain inconsistent and they're always going to play second fiddle to teams like Kansas City and any other team in the AFC who wants to step their game up?
Okay. I mean, that's the thing. I'm glad you kind of brought that up because, like I say, this is where the litmus test is, honestly. And, you know, when you're talking about the kickoff, when you're talking about Kansas City, you're talking about the Texans, you know, you're talking about a team now who has become a veteran organization. And they've gone out and solidified all of their big names, all of their playmakers they've basically retained, or they have at least for the next few years. You know, like that was a big issue here with the Texans. You know, why were we not able to retain, you know, a certain name? I know y'all tired of talking about it. And at this point, you know, how is that going to impact us? I think, you know, when you face KC, again, like I said, it's a good litmus test. And honestly, you're playing with house money because nobody's expecting the Texans to come in there and win. So that should honestly be like motivation for you to ball out. Mm-hmm. That should kind of be, you know, I don't know, like I said, it's a pass for Tim Kelly. And again, like I say, it's so many new things that are going to be happening week one against the Super Bowl champions. Again, they're bringing back basically all of their guys, so you know who you're facing. So there's no real excuse about, you know, they got to come
exactly.
You know, you have a few new wrinkles, but it's not such a situation where you're not familiar. So again, this is about what, the third time in less than a calendar year that you've seen this team. So I mean, it's like you have to be prepared, and so I think that it's going to tell us a couple of things too about Bill. You know, where's his mind going to be? Will the Chiefs, you know, we're looking at them, will they have Super Bowl hangover? Is that what it's going to be painted as if the Texans win? Like, I think there's so many different angles that you have to look at, but let's kind of look at that.
Yep.
Let's say the Texans are all right. Let's say the Texans come out and look good, which is a possibility. It's like this. Let's not be fooled.
Yeah,
anytime Deshaun Watson's on the field, magic can happen. Like, I mean, you saw again, like we saw the connection.
And it is prime time, and that's when he shines the brightest.
Exactly. And you're talking about a guy who I'm sure is ready. You know, he's knows that, you know, he's had some tools taken away from him. I think he's going to do whatever it takes. He's coming into every season, it seems like, with some sort of disadvantage that has to get rectified. But again, and he still manages to play well. So I'm not worried about Deshaun. I'm not worried about what he can create. But I am just worried about, like, you know, how. Well, I'm not worried about how it's viewed in the media, but I know how that story will get painted. Again, so the Texans, let's say they got it all together. Let's say the experiment's working, everybody's eating. You know, the ball's getting spread around. Fuller's looking good. You know, everything is what it is. First game.
Yeah.
Is the media painting this as maybe the Texans are legit, or is this painted as a Super Bowl hangover?
Well, I believe the media will get sucked in, but it's going to be so just the same way it was last year. Remember when we played them? Nobody was giving the Houston Texans their full credit of what they were able to do with the players they had on the field. Instead, they talked about how Patrick Mahomes tweaked his ankle, how he did this and how they did that, and all the players that weren't on the field. But we didn't have Jonathan Joseph. We lost Roby. We lost Titus Howard during the game. I mean, so it'll be a media hangover. You know, nobody is going to drop any salt on Patrick Mahomes' game if he loses another regular season game to Deshaun Watson, because let's face it, he's done that before.
Yeah.
You know, so it's who's going to set the trend and who's going to come right out of the gate. And how long has it been since we've won a game one in the regular season under O'Brien? We haven't won a game one with Deshaun Watson and Bill O'Brien as a tandem, period. You know what I'm saying? So I don't see that changing, but it very well could. I'm rooting for the team, and I see it's a couple of players that you guys are mentioning who we'll end up getting to in the chat. Don't think that we won't answer those questions. We'll definitely get to them, you know, when it comes to Duke Ejiofor. No, we haven't discussed him yet. We will discuss him, but he's one of those players who could have ended up making an impact against Kansas City if he would have been right and he would have made the team. But as I stated, you know, and I like what Charles Abinahue and some of these other guys going into it. I want to see the leap that Cunningham and McKinney, because I've seen McKinney And this is the best shape I ever seen him in.
Really?
He was running like I said. I was like, man, what the fuck? That's not Bernard McKinney. Mm-hmm. And Bernard McKinney, was like in shape.
That's interesting. Have you seen a lot of Bernard McKinney on social media kind of during this time?
Not a lot. But I saw a video clip of him, and I want to say it was probably a breakdown. Yeah. That they were doing, on one of the little Texans channels. I want to say it was probably the real Houston Texans, and they would just upload, like some little practices and stuff like that. And they got a shot of Bernard McKinney. And I was like, God damn, this nigga is really in shape. You know what I'm saying? So who knows where games can elevate, and as they should. And at the end of the day, how long can this team be the almost team? You have Deshaun Watson. You have all the pieces, supposedly. You got fast on offense. You don't have speed. The only people who can even match you in speed are the fucking Kansas City Chiefs. There's no one else in the league on offense who can match the speed of the Houston Texans beside them. Yeah. And when you take that into consideration, the only thing else is going to take is execution, play calling, and guys just stepping up. The coach is going to have to step up. Play callers are going to have to step up. The quarterback is going to have to step up because I'm willing to hold him accountable as well. You can't disappear for after the first quarter against Kansas City and think that you're going to be able to win games.
Correct.
I never said this before, but we can't have that. I'm not putting the onus on Deshaun Watson because Deshaun Watson is not the reason we lost this game.
No.
Will the tackling improve? Don't see how that's really going to be the case. And when they just starting to have padded practices 3 weeks before the actual season, it's going to be another wait and see. And we do have a couple of sure tacklers who is Bernard McKinney. We're going to see what Blacklark, Grenard are going to be able to do. I want to be able to send them guys some love because I think they'll be able to make an impact. But how big their impact is, we don't know. Even though J.J. Watt is a shell of his former self, he can come back and have a phenomenal season. It's an even year, and he tends to go off in even years when I really think about it. 12, he had a good year in 13, but it was more of a down year for him. 14, he had a good year in 15, and he had a bounce back year in 16. I mean in 18. Dylan Cole is back. We'll discuss him as well on top of a couple of other guys, but it's just, can this team compete? Can they be on the same level? Can the O-line execute? Can the D-line and everybody on the defense, will they be able to have a level of communication? Because if there's one facet of the defense that Anthony Weaver has to push outside of the scheme that works to the players' benefit is the communication aspect of this football team. The communication has had far too many breakdowns, and this is not a game, and this is not a quarterback that you can have a lack of communication. If you feel that if it's something that you need to figure it out, pull the player to the side, see what they're doing, see if you can be on the same page. And if you're a better player, tell the person who's under you, who is hurting the team, hey, this is what you need to do, this is what you need to do, and get it done. If you can't, rotate somebody else in here who can get it done. Or just pay more attention to that person so that that person doesn't beat you in the game. And that's how I feel about it, man. But this team can take all the steps to go in the right direction. Yeah. It's just a matter of when and how long can they sustain it.
And that's the thing. And that's what I say, looking at this, it's actually like it's not a lose. There's no losing, honestly, like I said, because they're playing with house money, like I mentioned, for the Texans in this game. But I think depending on how you come out, you know what I'm saying? I want the win. Of course we want the fucking win. People tell you, guys, South Sports, they're negative, they hate the Texans. Yeah, we dedicate this much. We dedicate all this time to the Texans because we hate them so much. That's exactly what we do. That's our lives. But right. But the thing about it is like, what happens if the Texans go out the same way as last game?
It's going to be a long season because while this team, the high is between 10-6 and 11-5, but when you think about the floor of this team, I don't think 7-9 can really be that benchmark. I think it could be even lower than that. We already have injury histories. We already have players with a long injury history or have the ability to, not even so much an injury. Let's just call it, we have a lot of players who will miss games. I don't even want to put it on injuries. It could be an abundance of things. It is for them to come out, and if they shit the bed day one, I'm expecting the defense to shit the bed the same way they did against the Saints. Like I said before the season of last year, Deshaun Watson will have the team in games the whole year. And when it boils down to it, the defense will make sure that all of that shit will be for naught. We were all on the edge of our motherfucking seats last year, game one against the Saints. If you weren't, I don't know how you can't say that that wasn't an exciting game. And I'm not dishing anybody. Bro, dead shred, bro, I'm not hating. I'm not even sitting pay you no attention because you're not listening. You don't understand context. No point. You need to go back to elementary school. But for one of these things, man, it's you just want this team to live up to its potential. Will they? I don't know, man. I don't know. I want them to. I believe one thing will be done. Regardless, one thing that I think that will be done, the defense will take on an identity. I think the defense will take on an identity, whether it's going to be they're very good against the pass or they're going to be very good against the run. But I think a mind state for the defense, because Rack is no longer the defensive coordinator, that they will be able to change something and get something on the right page. And because they don't have any lingering, veterans in the secondary like Jonathan Joseph, and the young guys can come in with the young squad, with the young swag, and bro, I said what I said. I don't need to qualify my statement. If you want to talk offline, we can do that. Because it's clear you don't have an understanding of who I am and what I stand for. I don't have anything against the man, but the dude missed games. You can act like you don't see that, but everybody else does. I'm just not an ass kisser. I'm not supposed to kiss nobody's ass just because of what they used to do. But anyway, enough of that. It's just one of those things. I got sidetracked for a moment, but it's just this team has all of the tools. They have all of the tools to get it done. Will the coach step out of the way? Will he allow the people he employs to do their jobs to their maximum capacity? And I already don't like about one thing I will say I don't like. Now, I don't know how true this is, but I heard something where Bill O'Brien is supposed to be involved in call plays or something like that on defense. I'm like, wait, what? I don't really get that. So why are you putting Anthony Weaver in a position and it's going to be similar to the Tim Kelly situation last year?
The only thing I would want to see from that is if Bill O'Brien is truly taking a step back and letting Tim Kelly do his job, and it's a situation where he's just kind of, I'm going to peek in the defensive room a little bit, I'm going to peek it off, and just, okay, what's the guy, what you got? Like, doing what he's supposed to in that sense, because it seemed to me, in my opinion, felt like he just kind of let Rack do what he did, and that's just that. Like, he didn't really have no say-so. He had a lot of respect for Rack. Rack is a veteran guy, you know what I'm saying, their history together. So it don't seem to me like, he had too much to say against whatever Rack was doing. He always vouched for him and all that other stuff. Like, if that's the case, I can see it. Hey, I'm a head coach. You're a first-time coordinator. Let me just, offer a little advice, even though I got bad advice to give, depending on who it's coming from. But, so that I can see and understand. But if he's actually calling like fuck no, that would be. That, no, I mean, it would be too Bill O'Brien. Like I said, like the fact that he can't keep his hands out of stuff. Like, I'm hoping that's not the case, because again, I really want to see what it looks like when guys get to do their job. And Bill, hey, just manage the clock. Have faith in your guys. Roll with the game plan that y'all win with. Don't change shit up. Like, don't add any unnecessary burden onto your coaches. Don't add any unnecessary burden onto your players. Playing the game is enough. Like, whatever game plan, switch your shit up. Like, come on, man. So like that's what I'm really hoping to see. And if you see progress, right? And that's kind of what I want to say. Like, say Tim Kelly comes in, calls this game, and you see again. Let's flip the script. You see the opposite. Is that saying something about Bill O'Brien, or is it just more some of the circumstances that we were in last year, since Bill O'Brien was able early in the year during the regular season to call a quality game and win? So what would you say in your opinion? If Tim Kelly comes out with a win, is it that we do have the team, we suffer from injuries? Is it Bill O'Brien, or is it just too early to even really figure that out at that point?
At that point, I think it'll be a matter if there is any negatives that can affect this team, it's going to be a matter of your key players, how long will they be able to sustain their roles on a week-in, week-out basis. That's ultimately what it's going to come down to. Because the fact that, because I don't think if Bill O'Brien inserts himself back as he's the end-all, be-all, he wants to be the GM, makes decisions during the game, he wants to be the head coach, not the whole game, but on Fridays, change the game plan. If he does some of the same things, and if he doesn't change his ways, then he's going to be similar to the situation what you said, and he just needs to be knocked off that pedestal. There's no sense in holding up the rest of the team and withholding yourself from a championship because you can't put your pride aside and let the guys play. Let's see what you know, because they're re-airing episodes of Hard Knocks right now. And in episode 2 that they just reloaded, because I watched it the other day. And it's just like, I want to know what you know. Because if you can't get it done, then they need to do an evaluation and they need to cut your fucking ass. Like, that's what we need to do. We need to cut you. Because we can't endure, as Texans fans, you can't have this fucking Ferrari. You can't have this Ferrari that we have in the Houston Texans across the board, and you got
a motherfucker with a driver's permit.
As soon as you put
learner's permit.
As soon as you pull out the car lot, the car is totaled. It's no sense in any of these situations to happen when they don't have to. Why is the playbook so hard? Why is it the language is so hard? Why do you have to overcomplicate things? You can't simplify anything when your play style and the way that you operate is the way it is. You're not willing to come down off of your high horse and do what was working in 2017 when your quarterback had just got here. Exactly. When you can get back to that point, that place, be as consistent with that type of play style and aggressiveness. You see, when we were losing games in 2017, I may have been pissed, but not to the fact of where I didn't say we weren't fucking completing, like we were just laying down.
And just gaffes at the
We weren't laying down for nobody.
Yeah.
Even with the injuries of J.J. Watt and Whitney Merciless, the team on defense was still playing hard, but Kevin Johnson was a disaster because he's an inconsistent player. Guys were getting hurt. We're losing Dylan Cole. We just lost so many people who were just, really making something with the defense, and it's just like going into that third and fourth years. Will that change?
Yeah.
We'll have to sit and wait and see. But Kansas City is bringing a product where not only they have the level of consistency, they have the heart and will to win. They have it in their mind they've won, and they see that reality all the way through until the time is off of the clock.
Yeah.
There is no time with Kansas City. Yeah. It's either they're going to win or they're going to lose. What will the Houston Texans mindset be? Hopefully, it's just winning, because you can't take anybody that serious and that they taking this personal. At the end of the day, that's what's understood don't need to be said. We all know it's personal, and if it's not personal, then it's something wrong with you.
Yeah.
But why do you have to talk about it? Yeah. Talking has got the Houston Texans nowhere.
No, absolutely no.
Get it done on the fucking football field, and then dominate the Kansas City Chiefs, and change your own narrative.
Exactly.
Don't allow the media to have nothing to say about what you have going on this season and make it look like, nigga, without DeAndre Hopkins or not, we still gonna be good, or we can take a step further.
No.
Don't talk about it. Get it fucking done.
Well, I agree, and here's my thing: like, we gotta see something, because that's been the issue. That's always been the issue with the Texans. Like, man, we love this team, but it's a lot of times they sold us wolf tickets. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, the game before, they'll set you up to okie doke. It's almost like they hit you with a long con. You know, they get a win, they get a couple of wins, and you're like, okay, now they're being relevant, it's looking good. And then they just pull the rug from under you, and they do something outrageous. Or those games that are so close to, you know, those emotional roller coasters. I probably, like, it feels like, I don't know if any other team has had some of the ups and downs that you've had with this team. But you got to look at this squad, right? And again, look at who they're going against the Chiefs. And you start looking on the other side of the field. You got to start to wonder, especially with all the hype. They've solidified this guy for the next 10 years. You know, we still haven't even figured out Deshaun's contract situation. Like, the Texans still have a lot of questions, right? And the Patriots, the Patrick Mahomes that's what I could call it. I guess we call them the Pats, right? The Patrick Mahomes the Chiefs, they're solid. Like I said, they've retained all their guys. They got everybody under contract for the next few years. Like, they're going to be competing year in and year out as long as nothing happens to Mahomes. And even if I'm sure they're still going to be relatively relevant. And I'm wondering, and I want to know what you feel in the chat. We'll do a quick poll. Zero. I don't know what happened with that. Hold on 1 second. But 0 for 0 for no, 1 for yes. Is Patrick Mahomes replacing Tom Brady on the mantle? And I'm not saying that he's the GOAT all of a sudden right now. I'm not saying that, you know, he's going to get, you know, that many. But I'm just saying in the sense of dominance, right? In the aspect of dominance for Patrick Mahomes, is he going to be Tom Brady? I mean, because like I said, their team is stacked for the next few years. They have everything in place to run it back. Again, all of your veterans, your stars. Hold on 1 second, let me bring this back. Wow. All of your veterans, like I said, you bring them all back, so they know what it is. Like, so there's no learning curve. There's no adjustment. There's no, hey, I got to learn the playbook. You know, like, the Texans are so far behind in this situation. Like, especially, you know, with everything that happened obviously, well, every team's behind. Not the Chiefs, because they're basically just running it back with the squad that they had. Like, they don't have any. I don't think they have any moves that were so big that you're like, oh, well, how are they going to bounce back from that? How are they going to, you know, like with the Texans, you lose Hopkins, you have questions. You're talking about the best receiver in the league. Like, what do you do? What is going to happen? Like, you're going to have, like, anybody who's mad that you're still asking questions, you know, it's asking. I'm like, you lost it. You don't know. Like, we've never seen Deshaun without Hopkins because Hopkins was always healthy. He was always there. You know what I'm saying? We've never seen Will Fuller without Hopkins. Will he, you know, like, will he still be able to execute the same? Will he be able to do that under pressure? Will he get that? Like, so you don't know. Like, there's so many. Hopkins was not an X factor in the sense of, well, what is he going to do? He was that guy, but he's an X factor being gone because how do these things function? How does everything else work without him being there, without him being that safety valve, without him being that sure-handed guy, without him drawing that attention, without him opening other guys up? Like, so there's a lot of questions that we have as Texans. Again, you got Cobb, Cook, guys coming in learning. We don't know the Kiki situation. It's kind of up in the air. You got a new running back situation. Again, like I say, you have so many pieces. Again, new coordinators. Like, and not since that Tim Kelly, he's a new coordinator. He didn't call fucking plays last year, and apparently his game plans were getting worked over on Fridays and Saturdays anyway. So obviously he wasn't getting the coordinator level of respect. But now he's calling plays. We'll call him a coordinator. It is what it is. But so you basically have two new coordinators. Again, like I say, all these other pieces that you have to deal with. Man, it's okay to have questions. Anybody say, oh, you're just being like, no, you're not. There's a lot of pieces that you're not going to figure. You have to figure out. And when you have a team like Chiefs, again, like I say, basically bringing back that same squad. They all know what it is. They know what it takes to get there now. They know, they had their disappointment the year before against with the Patriots. And then, so now they start issuing out disappointment. Now they know what it took to knock down that door to get past that. And they're going to be a tough out. But in your opinion, let me bring it. I say all that just to say, is Patrick Mahomes going to continue that with the Tom Brady level of QB dominance for the next 10 years? I say his contract is under 10 years. So is he going to be that guy for the next 10 years?
Who's going to knock him off the pedestal? When some quarterback answers that question, then we can have that discussion. Until then, why are we to believe that anything else other than what's already being put in place is not going to be the norm? Until somebody changes that, what are we talking about? I mean, and I just seen somebody say that Hopkins wasn't healthy during the playoffs, bro. He only wasn't healthy against the Colts in the playoffs. I mean, he had an AC joint and still played his ass off as well as you can play with an AC joint. You know what I'm saying? And a horrible ankle injury.
Didn't he have a rib situation with the Chiefs game?
And that didn't affect him.
Yeah.
I mean, he was still catching 30-yard passes. He still had an impact in that game. But
that should be more respect on him. Because again, anytime any of those guys have a little ding,
that shows a level of toughness.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, he finished the game.
Exactly.
So I mean, that didn't affect him, from catching big passes. Mm-hmm. So I mean, of course they're gonna naturally key in on him because I mean he is the best player on the offense. Mm-hmm. At least he was, during the time. So what team isn't going to make sure that they put all of their resources on a guy to make sure that person doesn't beat you? This is it's common sense. I mean, I don't really see how, he's getting the blame for anything. He was nowhere near the reason we lost the game. Exactly. Same reason why he wasn't the reason we lost the Colts game. This is what happens when your team does not have depth.
Correct.
You don't have your team prepared, regardless of who's on the field, because you should have been able to adjust, and your coaching should have been able to overtake what you lack on your football team. Other teams have done it. Why can't Bill O'Brien? And he has one of the most talented young teams in the playoffs.
Aaron Montejano, and that's the problem, right? That's the problem. That Houston is still going to be the AFC. That's a problem. And here's why. Because we've done that several years now. And if that happens, that'll be what?
We did it last year.
And it's like...
And guess what? The second place team went past us. But they're trash, though, right?
What is it? Consecutive years out of our division? At this point, man, I don't even care about AFC South Championship.
Who cares about that?
At this point, the stakes for Bill O'Brien are Super Bowl or bust. Last year, I said just make it to the AFC conference game.
Championship, yeah.
Since you fail, you get another year. The stakes are higher now. Again, especially with the Titans doing what they did last year, the stakes are higher.
Right.
Like if the Titans might not have made it, you may still be able to have the conversation. But now that they've completed the trifecta, that every team in the division has gone to the AFC Conference Championship under your watch, under your tenure. The stakes are higher. Like you have
get past the divisional round of the playoffs. Why don't you do that? Yeah. Why is that? Why are your expectations so low? Mm-hmm. Like hands down, if you ain't vying for a Super Bowl, what's the point of you playing? Yeah. Like I don't understand why these dudes even. I mean, as fans, you know why he just said what he said? Because he knows this team won't do anything outside of beating Tennessee when it counts. That's why he said what he just said. Until week 15 and week 17 is on the line once again, and we have to play Tennessee, to decide who's going to win the division and have bragging rights once again. You see, it's a YouTube rivalry with guys like that. Yeah. He's saying this not only because he doesn't even believe in his team like that, because if he did, he'd be saying,
Super Bowl,
man, we need to win a fucking Super Bowl or else. You've been in existence, and people have been to AFC championships in less time. Baltimore went to a championship 5 years after they were in the league Well, 3 years, because I want to say they came back in like the Baltimore Ravens was assembled like 97. They won a championship in 2000.
Yeah.
Or whenever that was, I like it was the early 2000s. I don't know the exact year, but like, how do you do that with Trent Dilfer at quarterback?
Exactly.
How is Trent Dilfer in the conversation of being a Super Bowl champion? Period.
Like he shouldn't even, and that solidified him to have an opinion on quarterbacks from henceforth. Like, I don't want to hear Trent Dilfer say shit about fucking quarterbacks. Like, but you know,
not at all.
He's a Super Bowl champion, so you can't take that away from him, though, right?
You can't.
Yeah. And so,
yeah, it was 2000. Okay, appreciate that, Clarence. Shout out to Clarence. The Jacksonville Jaguars, they were created, 95, 96?
Yeah.
And they went to an AFC championship and upset, and I want to say they upset the Pittsburgh Steelers or something like that. Mm-hmm. And their first 3 years of being an expansion franchise.
Exactly.
Don't tell me 95. Don't tell me the fucking Panthers. They came in about the same time that the Jaguars came in, 2003. 2003. They're in the Super Bowl. Like, I don't want to hear any excuses. I don't want to hear, win the championship, the division. The division is still weak. It would feel a hell of a lot better if all 4 teams, or at least 3 teams in the division, were legitimate fucking football teams. Bro, these teams are just, like... If you say that all of these, if at least 3 teams from the AFC South can have 10 wins plus,
yeah,
then you can feel good about winning the division. But when you got the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are like 4-12 and 5-11, and the fucking the Colts are 8-8 or 7-9 with Jacoby Brissett. And the fucking second place team is 9-7, and they blow you out, regardless of the fact. It is no reason that the fucking Tennessee Titans, regardless of who we sit down, should win by 21 plus points in your house. Period. And then they beat the shit out of the Ravens. They beat the shit out of the Patriots. Some teams you will never even. It's not even conceivable for you to even beat these teams in the playoffs, let alone the regular season. And somehow, some way, your only expectation is an AFC division play, because you know goddamn well this team can't win a Super Bowl in your mind. And that's why the AFC South is the only determining factor. But you know one thing I'm willing to say? When Bill O'Brien got his mind set to something, he could reach that goal. So I believe if he raised his bar to AFC championship, or he raised his bar to Super Bowl, he may very well get one. His only goal is the AFC South. Yeah. When that's your only goal, how the fuck can you even conceive winning a Super Bowl when you only care about this? Do you think the Tennessee Titans are vying? As long as they get in the playoffs, they know they have every right. They know they got the pen to write their ticket, and that's exactly why they're being looked at as the best team in this division right now.
Exactly. And that's
now, that may not be the case talent-wise. It definitely ain't quarterback-wise. But if you're going to sit here and tell me, as of right now, when Mike Vrabel is 2-1 in the playoffs after being with the team for only 2 years, and he's reached a plateau that Bill O'Brien can't even think about getting to, how can you say that winning the AFC championship when a worse team that you hate is in a better position than you? You have no room to speak about nothing.
Yeah. Well, that's what I'm saying.
You have no room to speak about absolutely nothing.
That's where the Texans need to see themselves. And that's where we're kind of like, again, like, we're not trying to shit on your hopes and dreams. Like,
absolutely not.
It's a point where, like, as Texans fans, we got to stop looking at just the AFC South. Like, if you want to be considered a big dog, then you got to get off the porch. The AFC South is the porch.
Right.
Like, we haven't got off the porch. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's the problem. Like, we didn't kind of put a little paw out there and touch the grass, but we still got 3 feet on it. But like, you start looking like something, but then you sit your ass back down on that porch. That's what happens every time. Every time it looks like the Texans about to bust a move, like they're about to do something, like it's about to go down, it never happens.
Yeah.
And Like, that's why we get mad. Like, even I remember when Sauce started, like, why does national media look at us like that? And then you start even seeing, like, those events. After you kind of start paying more attention, like, I see why.
Right.
And it's because every time the Texans have a chance to have that statement game, to have that game that says, we've arrived, they end up disappointing. But it's like,
Right.
or they may have that statement game, but then they don't put the period on it next week. So they'll have a statement game, and then it just embarrass themselves, and that's a fraction of a sentence because you didn't complete that bitch, and now you look foolish. You know what I'm saying? And that's what happens with that's where it gets frustrating. Like, but again, to me, that comes to like coaching, having teams ready. Like you, the Buffalo Bills game was too close. Like, and if we want to be real about it, like, let's go back and think about that. The Buffalo Bills
way
game
too close.
Was too close.
With Josh Allen.
Tywan Jones make it a hell of a play. Like, who in the beginning of the game said, man, Tywan Jones is probably going to be the saving grace this game? Like, nobody.
I didn't even know he was active.
Exactly. And so, like, it took some shit. Like, if you sit here and tell me, oh, that's how it was drawn up in the playbook. Like, get the fuck out of here. Like, it's so much shit that just happens off script. Like, and people get mad about it, but there's a reason this is happening off script. It has to, because this is the only way these plays are being made. Because obviously something's not fully clicking.
Too much sauce.
Appreciate the love, King Jaja. Say, what if you go to the champ and then you lose championship game? You talking about the AFC conference championship? If they go to conference championship and lose, I'm not with it. Like, I'm going to still be disappointed. Because here's my deal. Like, at this point, if we're going to brag about all these division titles, we dominate the division, we kings of the South, what have we done that's better than everybody else besides collect, useless hats? I mean, this is what it is. It's like you a hat and a T-shirt. You feel me? Like, get a little banner or something. Like, what have we done different? Every other team has taken it to the next level. And there's only one level above that. We haven't even gotten to that level. So we have to go to the Super Bowl. And you have to motherfucking win that bitch. You know what I'm saying? Like, to me, that's the only thing that makes sense. Because again, like, if you're gonna claim to be the best in your division, if you're gonna claim to be the best, then you have to do something nobody else has going on. And then even like just was mentioned, it's just like it's the Texans have work to do. And the reason we complain and frustrate is because we want to see that happen. Like, I want to see the Texans get respect on a national stage. I want to see Deshaun Watson to get the praise he deserves. And in a sense, he does, because when you realize when they talk about the Texans, that's really all they talk about is either Deshaun or JJ. But it's like, I think we all feel like we have that guy. We have something in a Texans uniform that we've never had before. And then we don't have something in a Texans uniform that we have had for a long time. And again, that is, like I say, having one of the best fucking receivers in the league. And it's been probably since year one since something like that's happened. So, again, it's just frustrating. And it's not even frustrating. At this point, it's like you got to see what happens. Because, honestly, I'm saying all this, I'm hoping the Texans go out and beat the dog shit out of the fucking Chiefs. And I hope everybody comes back to these videos, take clips and tag. Remember when you said this, and this? Like, I would be more than happy to eat that crow. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'd have no problem whatsoever.
They're putting up 50, like, you have to put up 40, 50, like an astronomical number that's not even conceivable by fans and media. It has to be a surprise to all of us. And it has to be a defensive mindset that they have to set and just let motherfuckers know we ain't playing this year. Because how you start is how you finish. And lo and behold, the way we've started is the exact same way we finished year in, year out. Your fucking quarterback puts you in a position to be taken seriously until your defense lets you down. If that ain't the fucking truth, I don't know what else is.
Yeah, and that's kind of where we're at. Like I say, and again, to see how the rookie's going to do, I think, for people who are depending on what we got, this rookie and that rookie, I'm not going to put a whole lot of stake into it, because I'm looking at our veterans. And who do you feel like is truly taking these guys under their wing. You know, some of these younger guys, especially like the Grenards and the Blacklocks, and it's like, do you feel like that the older Texans are really mentoring these guys? Do you think we're in a situation, because like I said, there's a lot of numbers, a lot of contracts and things floating around. Do you think people are more concerned with that? Like, what do you feel like the vibe right now is in that Texans locker room? No, I mean, good thing. I'm talking to myself then.
Shit.
Okay, there you go. All right.
Oh yeah. I'm here. I was just helping putting up some groceries, bro. Just give me just a sec.
Okay. Whoa. Tidy. Terrible. But like I said, man, in reality, I'm going to tell you what's going to happen. And make sure y'all mark my words with this, because, people are going to come back and say, you guys you hate and you talk down. The Texans are going to have a playoff year. Again, if everything remains the same, everybody remains healthy, honestly, even... I forgot I still have to crow up. Honestly, even if, I think even if Will goes down or something happens, knock on wood, that the Texans are going to be all right. But it's just like, man, that's kind of, are you not tired of that? Are you not tired of the point where you feel like there's potential in the season, and then it just kind of gets washed away in an embarrassing manner? And I've been seeing that. I've been seeing the rumors floating around about that. Like I say, if it happens, I'll believe it when it happens. That's my thoughts on that situation. You know what I'm saying? So again, so as far as all rumors and all of this stuff, at this point, I'll believe it when it happens. I know there's speculations. I know people still, with the AB thing, like the Texans are just a team. Like I say, you don't know. Some teams, you hear rumors, you're like, oh yeah, that's about to happen. You know what's going down. Some teams, you hear rumors, like, that's immediately bullshit. Like at this point with the Texans, after the Hop thing, I don't know, man. I don't know who replaces Reader, right? Like, who are you going to get that? Like, I just think there's a lot of questions again with new DCs, new. I'm not too worried. Honestly, I'm not too worried about Tim Kelly. Like, I think he has enough tools and weapons that he should be all right. And again, you got Deshaun, which is again like a cheat code. So I'm not worried about the offense as much. And then, like I say, him kind of having, not calling play, but being, the OC in that capacity. There's something there. I'm not worried about him. But again, defense has been a weakness. You're questioning some pieces and some things you have going on. And then, like I said, you got a new guy in this role. And like I said, it's going to be interesting. But I don't know. I absolutely have no idea. I just realized what time it is. So actually, this is what we're going to do, because I just realized we hit the hour mark. We're about to get ready to wind it down. But as we're saying, like, the thing with the further videos in this series, they're going to be recorded, and it's going to be kind of more of a, like I said, direct service. I apologize for being vague on some things, because there are some points that I want to hit on specifically with upcoming videos. Maybe probably bringing back a series that I haven't done in a while. That it was done a long time ago. A bunch of folks have requested that it come back, and like I said, it's been enough turnover on the team that I think it'll be good to do these. So we haven't done those in a while. So your notifications might be going off. We'll see, right? We'll see. We'll see how to handle it, because I don't know if to just do it and make it like a private playlist or to drop them all. Like I said, it's just we'll see how we handle it. Let me see. Something else. Yeah, make sure. Oh, the Discord thing. This is kind of what's going on with that. Probably won't be open for the whole season. And what I mean by that, like, is if you're already in there, you're good. But because of some of the stuff we got planned, for in season, for like the Discord Patreon conversation and some of the things we're planning to do, it may end up getting limited. It's not going to it is going to end up getting limited to the amount of people that can get in there. Just haven't decided on that number yet. So if you are interested in getting into that, make sure you go to patreon.com/saucesports and sign up, and I'll make sure you get the Discord link so you can join in and be a part of that conversation. Especially once the season starts and as games start happening. Too, you got Rockets playoffs coming up, so I'll definitely be in there during some of those games, going live, and just various things. Like I said, we're going to start adding a few different elements to that. And I know people who like the halftime. I've requested about like halftime things. We'll be doing those in the Patreon/Discord group. Like I said, it's gonna be a lot of interesting stuff. So if you're in there, appreciate it, appreciate the love. If you're not, consider it, join it. It's gonna be real live once the season starts. And just it's gonna be a bunch more stuff coming. Like I said, so just y'all notifications. Don't unsubscribe because y'all get too many notifications. Just unclick the notification bell if it bothers y'all. Tell your friends about all that good stuff.
Real quick, Honcho, before we get out, I've seen a couple of players that you guys mentioned, like Dylan Cole. It's good to see that Dylan Cole and Kenny Stills are cleared, for football. I think they both have an impact that they could end up making on this team, and hopefully we see some strides from Dylan Cole this year and see if he can take his game to another level, because he's been one of those very underrated players. When we talk about underrated players, he's an underrated player. And Trill, bro, go find you a gas mask and make sure that you inhale with your diesel. Like, you don't even need to go far. Just go to the back of the cab real quick, bro, and just lift up the latch and go ahead and just soak it on up, bro. Like, you just need to be real high, bro. Like, because at the end of the day, what else do you have to do in life besides drive and get high? Like,
terrible, nigga, terrible. But yeah, but Cole is an interesting thing. He came up with his ACL last year, and Cole is a guy who can be a factor. But I got a question. And I'm throwing this out there to everybody. I did a quick poll last. I don't even think I finished a quick poll last time, but 0 for no, 1 for yes. Is at this point, do you consider Dylan Cole injury prone? That's what I want to know. I want to know what y'all think about that. But yeah, like I said, aside from those things, it is about that time. If you are in the den, we'll be in the den at 9. We're talking about anti-social distancing. And what I mean by that is I'm not anti-social distancing, but I'm talking about anti-social distancing. It's play on words. How, all of this stuff could be impacting the way human beings interact with each other from this point forward into the future. So make sure you're there for that. Again, if you want to be a part of the Sauce Sports Discord, patreon.com/SauceSports. Join at the $5 tier or higher, and you can be a part of that. And also, we'll be adjusting some of the tiers in the thing, giving some more roles for those of you in the Patreon for at the higher tier, some different things. So look forward to that. I'll be trying to get that knocked out this week also. If you want to become a member of the channel, you want the fancy badges, you want the fancy, H-Town with the star by your name, you know what I'm saying? That changes color as the months go by. You want the custom emojis, Whatever they let me pop. Bam, there you go. Appreciate that, Professor Trill. On point. That's all niggas from Port Natures ain't all that bad. You want those fancy custom emojis, and you can have all of those things. So make sure that you hit that join button to get that, and then you can have all of those things. So with that being said, we're gonna get rid of the cha-cha. I appreciate y'all coming through. Shout out to Wink. Appreciate that, Mr. Real Talk and Mr. Purple Drink. And like I said, all of those of you who have joined and become members again, we'll be in the den, 9 p.m. Central Time. Make sure you're there. It's always a good time. If you're new here, hit that subscribe button. Stay tuned. It's going to be a sauce overload. But with that being said, tell me, dudes, y'all be cool like y'all be cool. Most of all, y'all stay saucy. Y'all the freshest motherfucking ingredients in the world. Make sure you follow on sauce. Yeah, shout out to all the Twitter followers. We hit like 1K the other day on Twitter. I don't know why y'all follow me on Twitter. It's the worst fucking Texans follow ever on Twitter. Why do y'all do that? Stop. Hold on. The audio was up. What was that? I'm sorry.
I say, oh yeah, fuck Trill.
Oh, okay. Yeah. That comes sign there. We go.
Perfect.